Hello and welcome to India Head's special show Masterclass, and I'm Priyanka Chawla. Now, when you hear the word entrepreneur, you likely think of Mark Zuckerberg, Oprah Winfrey or Elon Musk. It's easy to think of entrepreneurship in context of people who have built global empires and are worth billions of dollars, and while they provide admirable model of success, they would be far on an end of entrepreneurship success range. Everyone with an idea won't be the next billionaire. Yet, entrepreneurial thinking could be the most important skill in the world which is needed in the future. And that is why it is crucial that we define entrepreneurship in the 21st century based on the skills required and not the money we make. Today's topic on Masterclass is Teaching for Entrepreneurship. Let's welcome our panel of guests for today, Dr. Kamlesh Mishra. He's the Vice Chancellor of Rishi Hood University in Sonipat. Mr. Vadrajan Sridharan, he is the Head of Education Technology for NTTF, and Mr. Vijay K. Srivastav, he is the Chairman of Indian Academy of Entrepreneurship. My first question to you, Mr. Vijay, do you think entrepreneurship is a trait which can be learnt at an institute, or somebody is just born with that risk-taking ability?
Thanks a lot for inviting me here for such a beautiful discussion. Entrepreneurship is something which is there with each and every human being on the earth as an intrinsic human trait. This is what has been my experience over a period of time, like since the last 3 decades since when I have been in the industry. Whenever we used to hire people in our organization, most of us, like line managers, me as an HR professional or as an educationist, all of us, we used to look for one of the traits, that is the person has that, is the person,
please go ahead.
Is he capable to carry that entrepreneurial trait in himself? Okay, right. So that is where it becomes very important. Entrepreneurship is something which is very much inbuilt, intrinsic trait of a human being, which is what generally gets sharpened over a period of time. Okay, be it through education or through experiential learning, what we call. So therefore, entrepreneurship can be put in 2 buckets. That is, one is intrinsic trait, and second one is it gets translated into a trait when one becomes an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
That is how it is. Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's go over to Mr. Vadrajan as well. So do you think that what he was saying, intrinsic and the trait which can be developed, how much do you think Indians are nationally job creators and not job consumers? And how much do you rate the students in the current scenario as entrepreneurs, the future of entrepreneurship in the country?
First of all, thank you for having me again here. What Mr. Vijay said is extremely important for everybody to understand. There's a lot of intrinsic traits that is required for being a successful entrepreneur. And there are a lot of these traits which are very, very native to the person. I mean, India is actually growing as a country from a, there's a rising upper middle class, there is a rising middle class population, the aspirations are rising as a country. And entrepreneurship is the only way to kind of create an organic job creation movement. And students, what typically don't get taught about entrepreneurship is that the first step of being an entrepreneur, not necessarily to own a business, but you can also be an intrapreneur, right? So these traits, not necessarily as a job creator, but can I be an employee as an intrapreneur? I can still exhibit those traits, and some of them go right from college to be an entrepreneur. Some of them right from college to become a job creator. Some of them will have their own ladder to get there, right? They will experience a few years of working in an organization before they get there. And during the years of work, it should not be that I'm doing this work as against my wishes, or it's just for my pocket money. They have to look at it as an opportunity to practice entrepreneurship. And when they have the real skills, they can later convert those entrepreneurship skills with their skills and then bring out some a business or a product in the market and become an entrepreneur and a job creator later. So it is very imperative. We don't currently we're looking at a lot of micro entrepreneurship hubs, and this has been there in India for quite some time. You look at Coimbatore or Ahmedabad, or you look at a lot of these Mumbai, a lot of these cities actually have had a lot of entrepreneurs. We probably did not use the term entrepreneurs so much in vogue back in 50, 40 years back, that we have always had entrepreneurs. It's just that over the last 20 years, people have gone to look for jobs, and you can still be an entrepreneur, an intrapreneur, by being an employee. And as and when you pick up skills, you can actually the student can move to becoming an entrepreneur and actually create more jobs in the market.
Absolutely, that's a very interesting point in the journey of becoming an entrepreneur yourself. Dr. Kamlesh, would you like to add what Mr. Varadarajan had to say?
My thought on entrepreneurship education is that I think we have always been off track completely. We basically have taken an MBA program and added a couple of courses and said, okay, now we have an entrepreneurship program. I think we're wrong from the very, very beginning. And right now we are structuring a new entrepreneurship program both at the undergraduate and postgraduate level. And one of the things that we did was to divide this whole 2-year program into 4 stages. And the idea is by the end of the final stage, the student must have a startup which is a registered company.
Right.
So he goes through those 4 stages. First, they go into what we call as an idea factory. Second stage, they move into what we call a validation lab. That's when all the ideas are validated in those labs. The third stage is they move into a startup garage, and the fourth stage is they move into an incubator. Now, this is applied. Every student who's coming into this program has to have the desire to be an entrepreneur, first thing. If they are looking for a job, then we want them to go into a normal MBA program and not come into this kind of a program. Right. So from the concept of generating an idea to moving into an incubator and planning for the launch of the company is what we train them. In the process of moving from one stage to another stage, we give them academic inputs where it is required. So we don't start away with introduction to marketing. We start talking about marketing when we come to the point where they come to the stage of how are they going to market their products or services that they're going to come. So the idea is that any academic input that is given to the student is given at the stage where it is required in actually setting up and running that company. And therefore, he does not need to memorize this.
Right.
So it's not about providing information. We always say that it has to be experiential. So how else do you make them experiential unless you are getting them to come into the program and to go out with a degree, and along with that a startup company which is ready to move on. We also, for example, have a school where we have a design program. Now we want these students to actually work with the students in design school to start planning for a design of the product and make prototypes. That's where they work together.
Right.
So I think the whole idea of an entrepreneurship program is to make it so application oriented.
Right.
A student doing an MBA, he finishes his MBA, he doesn't know how to register a company. But in this kind of program, they have to actually register the company before they go out. So they have a registered company, right? So only thing we teach in the MBA is that if you want to register a company, go to a CA.
Yes. Dr. Kamlesh, you mentioned 2 points here, that the regular MBA is definitely different from, entrepreneurship, and of course, its practical approach, its application-based program. Mr. Srivastav, your point on the 2 big points which Dr. Kamlesh Mishra just pointed out.
What Dr. Mishra is saying is absolutely bang on. The kind of academy which we are running here, Indian Academy of Entrepreneurship, of course, it does not have a blend of these two, like say academic orientation, inculcation of academic traits of entrepreneurial features amongst startups, and plus bookish knowledge. Unlike any other university, here what we are doing, what we are practically experiencing, that when we
take our people through the selection process, we invite them to be a part and parcel of our Indian Academy of Entrepreneurship. Okay, we just test and try their abilities under 4 parameters, which may sound to be absolutely abstract. In the sense, we look for the very first trait what we look for is pride in the belly. Second one, what we look for is the person a firm believer of dignity of labor. And has he got the capability to be a multitasker? The third one, what we look for is non-negotiable integrity.
The fourth one, what we look for is 24/7 psychological engagement. These four traits, this is what we look for in order to bring that person on board with us. None of these criteria, so none of these traits call for any academic achievement or qualification to be there. And that is where what Dr. Mishra is saying, what Mr. Vardharajan is saying, like say, it is a point to be discussed and it is a point to be deliberated over a period of time, and which is where we are heading to, in the sense that we cannot segregate these two things, like say your practical experiential learning to become an entrepreneur, as well as some of those bookish learning. Rightly quoted by Dr. Mishra, there are MBAs from across the globe, not only from India, from across the globe. There are MBAs, there are certification programs which are being rolled out across the globe, and people are coming on board with just several companies. Okay, they start working and ask them how would you be able to form a company? They don't know A, B, C of that. And there are people, there are entrepreneurs, small scale entrepreneurs with whom we are working, we are nurturing them, we are incubating them and taking them through our 4 stages, what we call initiation, innovation, incubation and acceleration. At the initiation stage, we basically make them understand how to come out of this fear of creating a company, how it's going to be designed, what all are the compliances, okay, and the person starts practicing it. The person starts learning it, irrespective whether he is a 12th pass or he is a, like say, graduate or a master's in business administration, whatever it is.
Right.
Yes, so that is how it is, yeah.
Absolutely. Another point coming out here, Mr. Vardharajan, do you think there should be prerequisite eligibility criteria for students who want to study entrepreneurship? Because as he also just pointed out that 12th grade can also be an entrepreneur and even an MBA.
Absolutely. So, see, here is the deal, right? So, when we have abstracted a few components of a corporate working culture, and we have inducted that into the curriculum, like business English, business communication, project management. These are something that has been inducted into the curriculum. I think the first thing that we have to do as part of the curriculum is to bring in entrepreneurship, or the basic traits of being an entrepreneur, which is common, right? Those need to be kind of a prerequisite learning. Either you do it in the early semesters, and then with that, they need to be able to actually formulate an idea and maybe even pitch in a couple of early ideathons and try to see their idea fail, try to see the idea questioned. I think that failed experience is the best teacher or the best motivation a person can have to want to become a successful entrepreneur. They take those learnings very fast, and then if you give them a structured curriculum on how to form a company or how to break down the idea, how to look at proof of concept, so if you break that down at that point, it is no longer theoretical. They're able to appreciate it because they've already seen their fingers being burnt once. So there has to be a prerequisite in terms of two things. One is in terms of I would say an entrepreneurship kind of an education, prior to when they take this entrepreneurship module. And the second thing is basically having attempted an idea. What are they learning from? What is the idea that you have tried out, and if it failed or if it succeeded, what was your learning from it? And that has to be kind of presented as a statement of purpose, and that is what should go in selecting people to get into an formal entrepreneurship education. Otherwise, it becomes very theoretical and superficial for the person, for the learner.
Absolutely. Dr. Kamlesh, coming back to you, do you agree that entrepreneurship training, which Mr. Vardharajan pointed out, is that required, or there is some other eligibility criteria if we talk about your university when it comes to preparing the entrepreneurs for the future?
See, I'm against any kind of barriers that we create in education. See, we have a problem of plenty. Therefore, everything that we do is done with the purpose of eliminating people. How do we eliminate people so that we have a limited number of people to cater with? Would you allow me to take the JEE exam for entry into IITs if I'm not a science student? No, you would not let me, because you have the fear that if I take the exam and I get selected, you will have to take me, right?
Right.
So the idea is very, very simple. I think we need to open up a little bit more. And I think it's important for us to give a second chance to every student. We have a tendency to box students from class 10. You decide whether you want to be an art student or a science student or a commerce student. And once you decide that, your future has been sealed in that box. I think we need to change that. And we need to have we should allow students to change their mind as they develop their faculties of thinking better. Entrepreneurship is a very, very different kind of a program. To me, entrepreneurship is more about developing that ability to see what others cannot see.
Right.
It's a, there are thousands of ideas floating everywhere. But the idea of entrepreneurship is to, only those ideas are good and serve the community or serve the nation, which can be given a commercial value to it. And it is the entrepreneur who gives a commercial value to ideas. If ideas have no commercial value, there is no meaning to those ideas. They will be lying somewhere in the shelf. It is because there is somebody who looks at an idea, thinks that there is a commercial aspect to this idea, who is able to create a market, who is able to see things that others were not able to see. So I feel that we should not have restrictions. We should allow students from every sphere. At the end of the day, there are people who have done aerospace engineering and they are great entrepreneurs and they're not making planes. Right?
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely. Absolutely. Sky is the limit when it comes to being an entrepreneur. Mr. Vijay, do you agree to what Mr. Mishra had it to point it out in terms of the criteria, in terms of eligibility for becoming entrepreneur?
Yes, yes. I completely agree with what Dr. Mishra is saying. You see, globally, if you see the education pattern and the way people are selected across the universities for different courses, including innovation and entrepreneurship. In fact, I was having a discussion with my youngest son, who is trying to get into this, like say, London School of Economics or XYZ University for his higher studies. And we were just discussing. And he asked me this question, Daddy, why does one need to have a physics degree to become an engineer? He is having economics and commerce and accounts, but his mind is so very engineered, his mind is so very creative that he can create anything or everything possible out of nothing. So why there is a restriction? For a JEE examination, a person who has got physics, chemistry and mathematics. Okay, maths I can understand. Why physics, chemistry? What is the need? We need to change this. We have to change it. Today I'm going to have, let me tell you, we are going to have some of these brands which are going to be launched under the aegis of Indian Academy of Entrepreneurship, which are going to be created by people who do not have any qualification. Priyanka ji, Dr. Mishra and Varatharajan Saab, let me tell you, in times to come, we will have more and more entrepreneurs, more and more innovators, more and more ideators who are basically going to be Imagineers. They imagine so much, they're like say, they can visualize things.
Right.
Let me, another example, ma'am, like say Jack Ma. What is his educational qualification? Where did he go? And most of the universities, he opted to go for XYZ University, that is Harvard University, and they refused to give him an admission. And today, so what is Jack Ma? So that is, there must not be any criterion to get an entry in any course, irrespective what is the background of the person. Open school concept.
Right.
There are children across whom I have come in, they are much more brighter than the children who are going to Stephens College. So that is how it is. So
Absolutely.
This is one. Yeah. And second point, which I'd just like to add on, Dr. Mishra was talking about, we have to, unless and until we broaden the horizon of thinking and innovating and make it open for everybody or anybody. Today, under Indian Academy of Entrepreneurship, we have got farmers who are working with us, we have got aerospace engineers, we have got people who are working in the space of aero laser, agri laser. We are working in the space of food packaging, vacuum packaging. Okay, we are working with the people like say who are basically into only and strictly into supply chain at the ground level.
Right.
Okay, so therefore there is, as such, there is no requirement of any qualification to become an entrepreneur. But yes, in times to come or even today, if we try creating a blend of these two, like say while you practice, you also get some knowledge, bookish knowledge, which have to be basically case study based.
Absolutely,
Experience
absolutely.
based. Yeah.
See, Jack Ma is just one examples of all the success stories we've seen so far, but there are a lot of struggles as well. That's why we've seen teaching of entrepreneurship also becoming important. If I could ask you, Mr. Varatharajan, what is the expectation from these courses and what is actually being delivered right now?
See, I'll answer slightly differently here, right? So most of the cases which you get quoted are people who are success stories. What we don't hear, 92% of entrepreneurs in India fail. I'm a failed entrepreneur. I struggled. I went without salary for 2 years. There's a lot of personal struggle that I've gone through. I've mentored, many educational startups. So I see the struggle. There are many struggles that you can't even, quickly put your finger to. For example, I know a couple of entrepreneurs who are not able to get married because nobody is willing to, these are struggles which you don't see. Right? It's not spoken about.
Right.
I think what is really need to be covered is, that's the reason why I say people need to understand what they're getting into. Entrepreneurship is not a hype word, it's not a buzzword, it's not a cool thing. There is a lot of commitment that you'll take. You are going to take the early years of your career life and you're going to take a lot of risk with it. The only currency you're dealing with is your skill currency, and you're going to lose time if you're going to fail, and you're not going to get those time back. Right? And that is the 25 to 30, before you're 28, 29, that is by the time you're 28, 29, you should be in a kind of a comfortable space, because a lot of other life priorities will start knocking your door. Right? So that is the reason why I'm always skeptical or probably pessimistic when I say that people need to take a very careful step. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody. People can be good entrepreneurs. I mean, they can be part of an entrepreneurial journey, but good entrepreneurs, they build that skill early on. They try out the skill. They don't wait for a curriculum. So you will see that trait early on in them. They'll not wait for a course to be offered. I've seen kids who are 10 years old, 12 years old, 14 years old, who've started companies, who've employed people with no formal education. So I think for us, the more important thing to teach or cover inside an entrepreneurship course is the failure stories. That's very, very critical for everybody to get a 360-degree view.
That's a very valid point. Dr. Mishra, do you agree that telling failure stories and preparing for those kind of situations is also important when we are trying to teach entrepreneurship in colleges and universities? And what do you have to say about that?
See, I've always believed that if we have to grow as a nation, we need to create a good breed of job creators. And that's the case with most of the developed countries, that we have more job creators than job seekers every year. And I think India is on that path right now, where we are beginning to see that kind of a cultural shift that is happening, where the younger generation is looking for becoming entrepreneurships. I basically look at 4 aspects that we all need to focus on in these young minds who want to become entrepreneurs. Is that they need to acquire good knowledge. They have to have the right attitude for being an entrepreneur. They need to have the ability to convert their knowledge into applied skills. And fourth and most important is they really have to be hardworking.
Right. That's the very valid point you've mentioned here. Just last few minutes to wrap up, my final question to Mr. Srivastav. How do you think entrepreneurship laboratories like IAE are relevant in today's time, especially when post-COVID-19 there are going to be much lesser jobs and entrepreneurship is going to be the way of a future, how the future will function?
Yeah, I would just like to conclude this, extending what Dr. Mishra was talking about, and answering your question. the future of this country or the global future of human resources in terms of earning their dignified livelihood is embedded in entrepreneurship only. Because entrepreneurship is a journey which is what is going to create and pave paths for so many people in terms of job creation, in terms of career creation, in terms of entrepreneurial successes. And last but not least, we have to be a great learner. Learner in the sense we have to be learning from all the failed stories, unsuccessful stories, failures of entrepreneurial journey. And entrepreneurship is something which is there. And again, I would like to conclude it with this point that which is there inside each one of us, and it will remain with us. However, what it really needs to be there in the right ecosystem to be sharpened over a period of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Srivastav. You got me thinking as well. As you just said, entrepreneurship skill is within all of us. That's the point we are going to wrap up the show with. Thank you so much for being a part of Masterclass. Thank you so much for watching today's Masterclass, which is about teaching entrepreneurship, which is going to be the future. With that, it's time for me to wrap up this show. To stay tuned, news and updates continue on India Ahead.